Hey, I'm Creech and this is Creeching Cars. On this episode of Startup Showcase, I'm going to go over everything you need to know about the Vinfast VF9, a brand new, luxurious, fully electric large SUV. Before we get into it, remember to give the video a like, it helps me out a lot, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. In this video, I'll take you through the exterior and interior design of the VF9, and then I'll go over the mechanical and performance specs. I'll take a look at the different trim levels and prices, and finally, I'll give my opinion on whether or not I think the VF9 will be successful in the US. But first, here's a brief overview of Vinfast. Vinfast was founded in 2017 by Vietnamese businessman Pham Nhat Vuong, and unlike many modern car startups, Vinfast is not exclusively an EV automaker, and its initial models used gas engines. In January of 2022, however, Vinfast announced that it would begin transitioning to an all-electric lineup. Vinfast has built solid relationships with legacy automakers like BMW and GM. Later in 2022, the VF8 electric SUV was debuted, and in April 2023, the first US deliveries of the VF8 were made. I am planning on making a more in-depth video on the brand itself, so look out for that in the future. Taking a look at the exterior of the VF9, the design is right on the edge of being overstyled, and I think that's a good thing with the modern automotive design climate. There are 8 exterior color options. The front end features large side air curtains and what is Vinfast's signature front end design with a running light bar that curves into a V shape around the V logo. While it's certainly not very recognizable yet in the United States, it is easy to recognize and has the potential to become as important to the brand image as other front ends like Jeep's 7-slotted grille. There are also little indents in the bodywork to accentuate the V. The headlights consist of 2 bright LED bulbs in each light, with the second bulb serving as the brights. There are some aggressive hood lines that come up from the front fascia, and some sporty bulges around the fenders. Blacked out A-pillars give a floating roof appearance, and there is a fully glass roof. There are flush door handles with a silver color, as well as a sill trim piece that is also silver in color. The wheels are pretty sporty, but nothing too outlandish, and what you see is the only wheel option right now, although you can get this wheel in different sizes. I think the side profile also shows the roofline sloping back just a tad, and that gives it a sportier look and almost a wagon look. The VF9 is a tad over 200 inches long, so about the size of a BMW X7. The C-pillar is sort of split in half and has the Vinfast logo in the middle. There's a nice looking roof spoiler that hides the rear wiper, and then there's a rear light bar, which is standard among new cars now, but I actually like it in this application, and I think light bars work especially well with Vinfast's V design language. The back is pretty clean aside from a large indent for the license plate, and then it finishes off with an aluminum trim piece and the reflectors. The interior is pretty modern, but not as minimalist as some other EVs. There is nice accent lighting throughout, and the faux leather material is used heavily, although real leather is an option. There are a few different interior color options, including brown, white, black, and a blue and white combo, which I think looks especially high-end. With the size of the VF9, it does come standard with 3 rows and 7 seats, although you can opt for captain seats for the second row, which would make it a 6-seater. With the captain's chairs, there's a large center console in the second row that does make it more luxurious. And the first and second rows of seats have diamond quilted seats and the Vinfast logo on the headrest. The third row is a little more basic, but that is to be expected. The driver's seat is a nice place to be as well, with a 2-tone steering wheel that contains some controls for the infotainment system and heads-up display. As you can see, there is no gauge cluster. Instead, there is one 15.6-inch infotainment display and then an advanced heads-up display that shows your speed and other things like directions and range and other vehicle information. The center console contains the push-button gear selector and a single dial, presumably for controlling the volume and a few other infotainment functions. There is a glass roof, so that would likely make the cabin feel roomier, especially for the third row passengers, and the third row of course isn't as nice as the first two, but most people will only use it occasionally, and even with the third row up, there is decent cargo room. Now let's go over some of the mechanical and performance specs. The VF9 is all electric and comes with 2 motors. There's one motor on each axle, so all VF9s will be all-wheel drive. The 2 motors combine to generate 402 horsepower and 457 pound-feet of torque. While that is good power, the VF9 is no sports car, and the 0 to 60 time is around 6.5 seconds. The range will be 369 miles per charge for the Eco trim, and the more expensive Plus trim will actually cost you 9 miles of range. So while these aren't the best numbers we've heard from an electric vehicle, the VF9 is a large, heavy 3-row SUV that is designed to be more luxurious than sporty. The suspension should also be tuned to have a more comfortable ride than competition like the Model X or R1S. There are only 2 trim levels. The base Eco trim starts at $83,000 and comes with things like the faux leather interior and 20-inch wheels standard. The base model does include all of the available safety features and driver assistance features. This includes features like lane keep and lane centering assists, adaptive cruise control, and automatic braking. The Plus trim starts at $91,000, and for the extra money you get 21-inch wheels, or you can pay a little more for 22-inch wheels, and the front seats get more adjustability. There's also a separate climate zone added for the 3rd row. All VF9s do come with an incredible warranty that covers the powertrain and battery components for 10 years or 125,000 miles. And just to mention, because some things have changed in the past, some of these specific figures might change over time as we get closer to the actual production and delivery of the VF9. So as you can see there, the VF9 won't be cheap, but does it offer enough at the price point to compete? To answer this question, I'll take a look at the competition. And while Vinfast is not currently a well-established name in the US, that's okay because some of its main competitors aren't either. The first rival is the Rivian R1S, which starts at $78,000 and offers more power and off-roading capability, along with a more rugged design. Another competitor may be the Kia EV9, which is much cheaper, starting in the mid-50s, but Kia isn't a luxury nameplate, and the EV9 will lack the power and high-end features of the VF9. Another model which buyers may cross-shop is the Tesla Model X, which is by far the most expensive car in this segment, with a base price of around $98,000. Tesla obviously has a much better brand name and offers more performance, but with a $15,000 price difference, the VF9 may draw away some buyers who prefer a more traditional luxury experience. Still, I think the VF9 could benefit from a price cut, or maybe even a great deal on a lease, as it's a new brand and it's a Vietnamese brand, which means that American buyers won't really have much of a conception of it just yet. I think at that price point, the VF9 isn't so incredible that it would really draw your eyes away from the R1S or even some lower models like the Model Y, which has a bit more notoriety and brand image. I think the VF9 can be successful if Vinfast can stick around for long enough. And for more on that, I will be making a video about Vinfast as a whole, where I'll give my thoughts on what it would take for Vinfast to actually become an established brand in the US and worldwide. So stay on the lookout for that. So that's pretty much all I have for you today. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Vinfast VF9, and do you think that a Vietnamese car company will be able to catch on with American buyers? On this channel, I talk about car news like this, as well as history and culture. So if you like videos like this, check out the Startup Showcase playlist on the channel and subscribe so you don't miss future videos. This is part of a series on the channel called Startup Showcase, of course, where I talk about new startup car companies and their models. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.